What's up, everybody? It's been a long time since I made a video, but to be honest, not only have I been busy, there's just not been a whole lot going on since the Apple event. But, the Samsung Galaxy Tab has been released, and I figured, maybe it's worth a mention. So, quickly, we'll make a quick video about an article I've seen. I want to get some thoughts out there about this. It seems like people's already seeing problems with this device, as you can see by the headline on the front page here of my display. Samsung admits Galaxy Tab display issues with some Android apps. An unknown number of apps will run at 800 by 400 resolution on 7-inch screen. Now, first off, I'd like to say that the iPhone apps, they scale pretty good, especially on a screen that's even bigger than the Galaxy Tab. Some of them you can tell they're a little pixelated, but some of them, and I'm not talking about the universal ones, I'm talking about some of the iPhone apps actually scale really well and look really good on the iPad. But the kicker is, all of them will. You don't have to worry about buying something and it not scaling well, or it being, kind of funny looking, or blurry, or all your apps are going to work. All the apps you buy are going to work on the iPad, even if it's an iPhone app, iPod app. So let me read a little bit of this article here. It says, Samsung acknowledged today that some Android market apps on the upcoming Samsung Galaxy Tab will run at a smaller resolution than the 7-inch screen allows. If you download Android market apps to the Galaxy Tab, you'll find that many of those applications are fully scalable. A Samsung spokeswoman said, of course. Those applications that are not scalable are framed in the display at 800 by 400 resolution. The full 7-inch screen offers a larger 1024 by 600 pixel resolution. And what's nice about the iPad is I can choose to scale it up, or I can run it at native resolution. The problem appears to be limited to apps downloaded from the Android market. The spokeswoman said that Samsung did not work with Google on the Galaxy Tab to make certain that Google's entire suite of mobile services, including Maps, are fully scalable to fit the Galaxy Tab's 7-inch screen. So they didn't work with Google to make all the Google services fit. And there's a reason why. Because they want to add their own services. And that therein lies the problem with this Android market. All the carriers want to change the smartphone market and the tablet market back to the way it was before. You went to Verizon, you got a Verizon phone, it had a Verizon UI, had Verizon applications on it. Whatever was installed on the phone, pre-installed on the phone, was from Verizon. If you went to Motorola, you got a Motorola UI, you get the Motorola applications. Okay, and that's what they're trying to do now. See, like the iPhone is one phone and it's universal, but it seems like the carriers are getting a hold of Android, and they're not wanting to adopt Google or the Android marketplace. They're wanting to create their own services. That's why they're not working with Google. They don't want to use Google Maps. They want to make their own service. And that's the problem with Android. You're going to have to pick and choose. Okay, do I want my tablet from Verizon, or do I want my tablet from AT&T? Because all of them are going to offer different pre-installed apps, different UIs, different marketplaces, because Verizon, I'm hearing, is making their own marketplace to put on their phone. So this is the inherent problem with the Android market and tablets. Not only when you buy a tablet are you not going to know for sure which apps won't scale well, your buddy might also have a different UI and experience altogether because he's on a different carrier than you. The 7-inch tablet is more expensive than the iPad. I'm sure once it's subsidized with the contract, it's going to be a lot cheaper, but I don't want another $30 a month bill on top of everything else I got for a stinking tablet. If a tablet ain't pay-as-you-go, then forget it. It's got to be as cheap as the iPad, and it's got to be pay-as-you-go as the iPad. If those two criteria are not met, then I'm not even going to take a second look at it. It says the extent of the problem is still unknown because the US version of the Galaxy Tab, to be sold by all 4 major US wireless carriers, is not final. It has not been exactly determined how many of the Android market apps will be fully scalable and non-scalable, the spokeswoman said. What Samsung is focusing on is bringing all of its own proprietary services and apps, such as Social Hub, Calendar, email, as fully scalable, okay? Along with Google mobile services like Google Maps, Gmail. So what they're really pushing for is for you to use their own services, okay? So Samsung's going to have its own calendar, its own email, its own social hub, and that's what they're going to be pushing. And different tablet makers are going to have different things that they're going to be pushing. It's not going to be all one. Compatibility, folks. Compatibility is what I'm saying. It's just not there like it is with the iPad. It says what we do know now is that many of the Android market apps will be scalable, but it is just too early to put an exact number. Okay, great. So they eventually become scalable. Is there going to be any native like there is for iPad? iPad actually has its own native apps made for that resolution. Okay, so is they going to have all the Android apps just scale? Or are they going to actually have their own native tablet apps like the iPad has? Are they? It says that the Android isn't really, the Android operating system isn't really meant, or Froyo actually 2.2 isn't really meant for a device over 4 inches. So anything past that is really requesting the Android OS to do things that it really wasn't designed to do. The problem with suboptimal screen resolution was anticipated by Google's director of mobile products, Hugo Barra, in a recent interview with TechRadar. Barra said that Android 2.2 or Froyo is not designed for the larger tablet form factor and was intended for smaller screens of perhaps 4 inches or less used on smartphones and other smaller devices. So I think a smart tablet maker wanting to use Android will wait for Gingerbread 3.0 because they say that will be the operating system from Android that's more designed for a tablet. It's best to just wait so you can have a good experience instead of forcing and rushing something out that's going to have a cell phone operating system on a tablet. Some industry analysts, including Rob Inderl, I can't pronounce his name, Inderl Group. I'm not sure, so I apologize for butchering your name, guy. He said that the use of Froyo on tablets might result in applications, including games, that appear, quote, a little ugly. And now see, Apple in no way, shape, or form would ever have that. They would not allow something out on the market that was a little ugly. Not on a flagship product like the iPad. And he says that stretching an application to a larger screen can result in out-of-focus images, jagged edges, or pixelation. Okay, we all understand that. And that's not really the issue I have. The issue I have is you don't know which ones will, which ones won't, and that's one of the main issues. With the iPad, you know exactly what you get and exactly what you're getting. The problem does not appear to affect applications native to the device, or web browsing or playing of videos. The issue has raised a dilemma for third-party developers who make applications for the Android market. Some have suggested the use of scripts for applications intended for smartphones that would run the apps on Froyo-based tablets at a smaller size than the full screen allows, kind of like the iPad does. So it sounds like to me I might be getting it wrong, but when you run an Android Marketplace app on this tablet, it automatically fills up the screen and scales, right? And if it don't, it looks horrible. Okay, but they don't give us the option to run it at native resolution in the center of the screen like the iPad does, do they? That's what I'm taking from this. Samsung appears to be saying it will run some apps smaller on the 7-inch screen automatically without third-party developer intervention. Some tablets, including the iPad, run applications intended for the iPhone at a smaller size. Although those apps can be blown up to full screen width on Apple's tablet, doing so causes some elements to appear pixelated, however. The concern over resolution issues extends beyond the Galaxy Tab. On Monday, now check this out, on Monday, HP admitted that its new Android tablet, a companion to its PhotoSmart eStation printer, isn't suitable for applications found in the Android market. Jeff Walter, a marketing manager of Inkjet and Web Solutions, said that the device has a 7-inch display and that most Android apps are not designed for 7-inch displays. His comments, those of Samsung and even those of Google's Barra, were contradicted by a Google official on Friday who asked not to be identified and who said Android is optimized for all sizes of devices and that Barra had been quoted out of context. I think that guy's full of pure shit. Officials at Google have not responded to repeated requests for further classification. Of course they haven't. So what I'm trying to take from this is fragmentation is going to be Android's downfall. Okay, just because there's more Android devices on the market does not mean it is a better operating system. Okay, there's more people that live in China. I read this in an article. There's more people that live in China than live in America. But does that make China a better place to live? No. Okay, so numbers has nothing to do with quality. Because Android ain't nothing but a licensing whore, just like Microsoft was. They sell themselves off to anybody that'll have them, or give themselves away even. Google don't even feel Android is worth selling, I guess. They have to give it away to get people to take it. Because I'm wondering how much it would have been adopted if they'd be charging licensing fees. Or maybe they are. I don't know nothing about that stuff. But I know the fragmentation of Android is a really, really big turnoff. Because it seems to me a lot of developers and tablet makers and Google, they're just not much intercommunication, and the developers are running around with a chicken with their head cut off, don't know what the fuck's going on, don't know what the fuck to expect, don't know what to do, having fragmentation issues, resolution issues. So it's a really big question mark for developers, and just a lot of them are avoiding it and just going to the stable platform of the iPhone until Google addresses this. Then and gets a wrangle around these carriers and stops these carriers from fragmenting this platform so much. It's not going to get any better. It's only going to get worse. The iPad is a revolutionary product, and it's been almost a year, and nobody's hardly even put nothing out on the market that comes close. This is more proof that they can't do it, and more proof of how much research and time and effort Apple really put into getting this iPad together. Because if it was really easy, we'd done see a plethora of them on the market. And the only ones we see on the market are the ones rushed to market, and they all suck dick, to be completely blunt. Even the top of the line ones they got out, like this Galaxy Tab, has its own issues as well. So what I can say is, don't pay $600, $500 for a Galaxy Tab with all these problems. Get you an iPad. You know it's going to work, and you know everything that you buy for it's going to work. Don't be stupid. Don't let these fandroids talk you into this open bullshit. Because Android is not fucking open. It may be more open than Apple, but it is anything but open. You all are so fucking gullible to believe that it makes me laugh, and it makes me wonder really who's getting played, you know. You think you're being smart and playing Apple and burning Apple by adopting Android, but what you don't get is you're getting played by Google. You're going right into their hands. They're probably in the back rooms laughing. These motherfuckers actually think Android's an open platform. They're probably laughing about it. So that's my take on it. Stay away from the Tab. Wait until gingerbread arrives before you buy an Android tablet, because if you don't, the experience is probably going to be about half shit. So, OS 10, brothers.